Rev, I'm a simple man. You could jump somebody backstage. You can hang people with chains. You can even home invade and threaten your opponent's child. But the moment you attack Kenny Omega, enemy 444 life, you're on notice, Swerve. Let's talk about it.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante, back here once again to review tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. We apologize, we're on a little late, but the show ran late for good reason. And we start with that reason, which was the main event of the evening, which saw Kenny Omega face off against Swerve Strickland for the first time ever in a much hyped bout.
Nuts, right?
Yeah. Crazy, that's the first time ever. Crazy they're doing it here, but there's some out-of-the-ring stuff that Kenny is apparently scheduled to do in Japan in a couple of weeks, especially, I think it's during Revolution. And Tony Khan, being smart, was just like, hey, let's do it now. And not only did they do that, they really threw some shit into it. So I'm going to jump towards the end of this match here, where Swerve is able to kick out of an avalanche dragon suplex from Kenny. Kenny, who also hit a dragon suplex on the apron, mind you, in a very cool sequence. Kenny then takes Swerve, puts him in the ropes, and sets up for the V-trigger. However, Swerve begins pointing at his shoulder, seemingly to say, hey, this might be separated. And Aubrey Edwards, the referee, comes over and takes a look at it. And as she's looking, depending on a certain point of view, either she leads in too far, or
easy there, Obi-Wan. Easy there. Okay.
Or maybe Swerve pulls her in a little bit, and Kenny, coming off the ropes, accidentally lays Aubrey out with the V-trigger. So she's done, but the match continues as Kenny attempts to hit the one-winged angel, getting Swerve up onto his shoulders. However, Swerve gets out of that, and he hits a house call, but no one is there to count the fall when he goes for the pin. Swerve then continues his assault. He hits a Swerve stomp on the apron, and then he exposes the bottom turnbuckle, not in the ring, but on the outside, the piece that attaches the ring of the turnbuckle to the actual post, and he exposes that and catapults Kenny's throat right into it. Swerve then rolls Kenny back in the ring. It's another Swerve stomp. As referee Paul Turner, it comes down, and Kenny is able to still kick out of that move as Paul Turner counts. So did Swerve. It was a mixture of complete and total fury and disbelief. He looked rabid in that moment. Strickland then goes for another house call, but Kenny is able to duck it, and he hits another Snapdragon suplex, followed by a knee and a reverse hurricanrana. Kenny then goes for a one-winged angel again, but Swerve once again gets down from his shoulders and hits Kenny with a boot near the ropes. Swerve then goes to the other side of the ring to go off the ropes, but Kenny meets him there and hits him with a high knee, and that drops Swerve to a knee for a second. So Kenny then goes back across the ring and attempts to go again for a V-trigger. However, Swerve is able to recover, hey Maria, and hits another house call before following it up with big pressure to finally keep Kenny down for the 3 counts. James, do you want to discuss the poach match stuff here, or do you just want to go over this phenomenal match? Because I think this deserves its own discussion before we get into what happens after.
I completely agree. On its own, this match was fantastic. I started the first couple minutes and I'm thinking, all right, both men are kind of moving a little slower than I'm used to from either of them. Maybe this match is going to be one of those, like as it was, I was concerned about the time. The match didn't start until very late. And the last few weeks on Dynamite, we have seen they go past the 10 o'clock hour. They go significantly past 10 o'clock. But I don't know what the norm is. I don't know what the regular is. So I don't know if that means things are going to end at 10:05. I don't know if that means things are going to end at 10:15. So I'm just starting to bite my nails a little bit. I won't lie to you. The preview for tonight's show had this match, the face-to-face, and the fatal four-way for the women.
Yeah, and then I think the Moxley match was announced a little bit beforehand. But yeah, that was pretty much it.
But for the most part, pretty much everything else was just, it was left open. So I was thinking, oh man, they're really going to give us a lot of time for Omega and Swerve. Like, that's what this is going to be about. Like, these guys are going to go a while. And when every match that happened, granted, I enjoyed every match that I watched. But with every match that was happening, I was like, God damn it. This match is going to be shorter and shorter. And I'm glad that that wasn't the case. I thought they had a good amount of time to tell a really fun story. And they did. I loved Kenny being so adamant about trying to hit the Snapdragon from the apron to the outside, and then ultimately it backfiring on him. Because
he ended up hitting the German instead, and then Swerve landed on his feet and hit a suplex of his own.
While Kenny hurt his back doing it.
Yes.
So I thought that was, for a guy who's not a risk taker, high flyer, I thought that was a great way of showcasing how you could still take risks that could backfire in the ring. So I thought that was a lot of fun. We talked about this when we were texting. When he kicked out of that swerve stomp from the top rope, I was like, holy shit. Like, I was like, let's effing go. I texted you. I was so hype. I was so ready. I had it in my head that Kenny was most likely losing this match, but it made me get up on my feet and think, wow, Kenny could actually win it. The referee bit, beautifully done. Because even if Swerve himself didn't pull her, he absolutely signaled for her to be in between him and Kenny.
Yes.
So it's just masterfully done. Masterful work on his part. And I think everyone looked good with this finish. Kenny looked great. He looked super strong, kicking out of so many things. He looked like a warrior who would just not go down. Swerve just increasingly desperate. Increasingly just panicked and frantic, hitting everything that he could. The ring post bit, obviously getting the ref involved so much, and he was getting frustrated and nervous. So I thought that was well done. And with how it ended, beyond what happened after the bell, but with how it ended, to me, it felt like inherently there's so much room now for a sequel, whatever that may be.
100% agree. And yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of time between now and then. As I mentioned, because Kenny's going to be off, it looks like now for a couple of weeks, both in kayfabe and out. Who knows when that'll be, but he's definitely going to come back at Swerve with a vengeance and most likely have it on pay-per-view. But as I mentioned last week, and we weren't really 100% sure why they were doing it, this match this week, when we talked about it, when they announced it, just because we didn't know Kenny's full schedule. But either way, Tony Khan was very smart of putting this on TV, because now we at least have it under our belt. If and when we have a sequel, then cool. But we got it, and thank God we did, because it absolutely fucking slapped.
100%. I was very clear. I was very passionate about what I said last week. This is one of those matches that I have been waiting for a very, very, very long time. And I feel vindicated in this, in what we got. It was absolutely worth the wait. And I'm excited for what's next for both of these guys. And we're going to get into that more. But oh my God, I adored this matchup. It hit a different gear. It hit so many of the classic Kenny spots. I think Swerve hit one of the best house calls I've ever seen him hit.
He's been doing that a lot lately.
Like, just a standing, running house call. Like, just Kenny wasn't on his knees. He just caught him in the air. I thought that was fantastic. And I like that it still took big pressure, which is his one-winged angel. Like, it's his
No one's kicked out of that yet? Or
no, I think someone has kicked out. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Hangman who kicked out of it. But my point is, that's his big gun finish. You know, Kenny will put someone down with the V trigger here and there, you know, but the one-winged angel is, oh shit, game over. And that's how it feels with big pressure. Like Swerve hit him with the Swerve Stomp. He hit him with the house call. He hit him with so many of his big moves. Nope, he needed to hit big pressure. And I love that.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to think of who may have kicked out of big pressure. I guess you're probably right in it being Hangman. I think also big pressure is one of those moves where Swerve can only hit it on certain dudes, so you don't see it all the time. It has to be somebody similar in stature to him. So when you do get it against a guy like Kenny or Hangman or whatever, it ends up feeling cooler because he doesn't hit it as often as the house call or the Swerve Stomp. But to your point, and I think Maria put this very well, the match totally lived up to the hype.
100%. I am so satisfied. Like that is, there's no better word. I am satisfied. I am happy.
Same. Maria also saying she was shocked to see Aubrey take the bump. I thought it was a cool way to have her take it. You know, she didn't like get punched or anything, just accidentally took a knee. And Maria agreeing that the sequel has to be on pay-per-view. You know what? I see you in there. What's up, dude? We'll get to your comment in a second, just because we haven't talked about what happened after, and that more relates to that. And what happened after was Swerve, after celebrating a bit, turned around and started beating down Kenny Omega, attacking him and throwing in punches and bunches, some ground and pound, as we like to say, until referee Paul Turner attempted to pull Swerve off. So Swerve threw Paul Turner out of the ring and then laid in a few more punches to Kenny before kind of backing Nana down into the corner. I don't think he was threatening Nana, but he wanted the chain that Nana had wrapped around his neck in a dangling way, not a threatening way. And so he takes the chain from Nana, wraps it around Kenny's neck, and hangs Kenny over the ropes outside of the ring with it until Kenny more or less goes limp. Yeah. Swerve then gets out of the ring and saunters over to the announce table. And despite Bryan Danielson telling him to calm down and he's done enough and made his point, Swerve clears the announce table, goes, he gets the steps, positions them in front of the table, gets Kenny, and I did not think he was going for this when he set up those steps, but Swerve set up for and hit the vertebraker, shattering the table underneath Kenny's back before Swerve gets up and celebrates, screaming, "I needed this," as we went off the air.
The vertebraker, a move that he tried hitting on the apron earlier in the match itself.
Yes, during that, it's the whole suplex on the apron sequence.
So he was intent on putting Kenny down. So I think we called it. I think we said it over the last few weeks as things have been heating up, that it feels like a heel turn was coming in the main event scene for AEW. And of the players involved, Swerve felt like the most likely for that turn. That Kenny didn't feel like he was in a place to really turn heel. Hangman didn't feel like he was going to turn back heel after having a heel run of his own over the last year or so prior. So our money was on Swerve. And I think this was one of those things where it feels natural to who he is, that it doesn't feel like a betrayal to his character, but it's still a shock from where he's been these last couple of years. So I think this is how you do a heel turn. I think this is a justifiable switch. I think Swerve definitely needed a sprucing up, a freshening up. Not that he was getting stale, not that he was getting boring, or I wasn't excited to see him, but I think this is injecting new life into this character who has been, familiar for a while now. So very well executed turn. It serves a purpose. Kenny is not going to be around for the next couple of weeks, so it makes sense. And I am frothing as to what this means for everyone else. He and Hangman have been on the same page for a while now. I guarantee that's over. Like, Hangman was very clear. He wanted Kenny in that match last week instead of Andrade. He calls him that. I'm rooting for you, my friend. That's his former tag team partner. So I'm really excited to see what that means there. In general, where he goes from here, because our champion is a heel. Our current champion is a heel. So I have my own theories. I don't want to spoil it because we have another segment that we've got to talk about. But let me just say, let's put a pin in Swerve's future because it's very, very, very exciting.
I want to focus in on something you mentioned, which is that this heel turn doesn't really feel too far away from what this character is, because Swerve does this to, let's say, I know he's hurt, but let's say Swerve does this to Samoa Joe. No one's batting an eye. We're all probably cheering. But because it's Kenny, it's a heel turn. Now, I know, and I put that in finger quotes just because it's the same actions he takes against everybody. It's just more of a matter of who he's deciding to target when it comes to Swerve.
100%.
And to an extent, to which level he decides to take it.
No notes. Bravo. Well said. Just to add to that, to bounce off of that, to go to it's comment. Funny, Kenny was being a bit of a heel with the slap, but Swerve was the one who turned. I'd also argue that Kenny was remarkably consistent. Kenny is somebody who, babyface, heel, tweener, he's always got a little bit of an edge to him where he could kind of be a disrespectful prick.
Yep.
Like, I love him
because he's the best bout machine.
Exactly. For him, it's a competitive, enticement. He's trying to get you riled up. He's trying to bring something out of you or to throw you off your game. He would do that as a heel. He would do that as a face. So it worked, but it worked too well that he really awoke something in Swerve.
Yeah, I mean, this is Swerve, a guy who didn't like Kenny to begin with, now comes in and disrespects him both last week and the week before and now during the match. Yep. Not to mention, I'm not, I wouldn't really be surprised if Swerve is maybe a little hurt. I don't know if that's the word, miffed at least, that Hangman has been so friendly and gracious towards Kenny while he has been not cold to Swerve in terms of wanting to go for the title, but he has been very clear that he's willing to take Swerve out. Whereas with Kenny, he's like, hey, man, I hope we get to do, good old wrestling stuff and be the best man win. So maybe that's part of it too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too far into it, but it's a whole culmination of things that I know Maria called it, so she said she saw the heel turn coming a mile away. Maybe so, but the seeds were all planted very, very well for us to kind of, follow along and get to this point.
It was captivating storytelling in a way that we figured we knew where this was going, or at least for me, I figured I knew where this was going. I just had no idea how. And I am very pleasantly surprised at how well they executed it. But AEW has always sort of thrived in multi-story branches coming together. Swerve and Hangman, now Swerve and Kenny, which I'm sure will go back to Swerve and Hangman, which will also incorporate MJF, which again, put a pin in that because I really do want to talk about how I think this is going to come together. Yes. So we'll get all to that, but I do want to acknowledge, hey, Fernando, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I agree. I think AEW has been firing on all cylinders, and Dynamites have been back to back to back, really fun.
Tony,
really fun.
He's riding the wave right now, and he is booking strong.
We've been talking, Rev, for the last month plus, probably the last 2 months, how it felt very frustrating and kind of nerve-wracking that they were going so long between pay-per-views, that the last pay-per-view was World's End, and we're not getting one until March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. So we were worried about that, but on the same token, it's led to Tony really loading these Dynamites up.
Yeah, and I think also too, you had Grand Slam was perfect in the middle there. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
didn't cover it, guys. I know I tried, but Grand Slam being in the middle of everything really gave him something to build to that wasn't a pay-per-view, and I thought that delivered. But these Dynamites have been absolutely slapping, along with Collision too. Collision's been a good show.
It has. It typically is.
Yeah.
Fernando saying this was Daniel Bryan turning heel on AJ Styles in WWE before beating him for the WWE Championship. I'm going to push back a little bit on that one, Fernando, simply because we had seen Bryan be the lovable, plucky underdog babyface for so long that heel turn was necessary, because this was after Bryan had come back from retirement, and the crowd, shockingly, just kind of stopped caring about Bryan once he came back. Like, the pops were still there, but they were more like happy you're here pops, as opposed to I'm excited that you're wrestling pops.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was one of the few times that I thought WWE perfectly read the room, saw that the crowd was not there for him, and decided to do something about it, and it worked perfectly. And I think it served his character, and it brought out a facet of his character we knew was there because he had been a heel before, but it had been literally years and years since he had been a heel. So I'd say it's a little bit different, but I get where you're coming from. I have no idea how to process this comment.
I think he's saying in the sense that he is the best, and to be the best, you got to beat the best, and the fact that his character does pretty much, I don't want to say stay the same when he's a heel or face, but he does
fair
a lot of the same facets.
Well, that's very fair.
And even when he doesn't have the title, Kenny is the guy. He's the dude they built the company around.
I know that many people, and I don't think they're wrong, call Jon Moxley the ace of AEW, and I think that's fair. He delivers whenever called upon, which is often. But I think Kenny is the secret weapon. I think he's the secret sauce of AEW, where it's like you have grade A beef with Jon Moxley. He's what you're coming for, but it's gonna be just like a regular burger if you don't have Kenny on top of it. So I don't know. I don't know where I went with that. I'm kind of hungry. Ash Wednesday, I couldn't have any meat today.
Yeah, that's why.
But I very much I just love this main event segment, match, sequence, everything. Booker of the Year again is Tony, and I think that was through the
Wrestling Observer Awards came out this past week, and AEW got I don't want to say vast majority of them, but they got a majority of them.
Which can we just acknowledge real quick? I've seen a lot of hate about this online. First of all, let's just all acknowledge something. Fans are the ones who vote for these awards.
And let's also acknowledge something. If you're reading the Wrestling Observer, you're very, very smarky.
So no, but let me correct you, because I've seen that too, where it's almost a criticism that it's like, of course AEW would win these awards. WWE won the majority of the awards the last 2 years prior.
Yeah, which I thought was a little nonsensical looking at them, but they did a lot of good work.
They did
those last 2 years.
Spade to spade. WWE was very hot for a little while AEW was a little bit cooler. Yeah. Right now, I'd say 2025 belonged to AEW. If WWE didn't have the Cena retirement and like the Gunther stuff on top of it,
which
I don't have it in me to get into it right now, but yes. But I think it's very fair. I think it's very, very fair. Oh God.
Yeah, there's a lot of that with the Observer Rewinds where I was just like, yeah, AEW had that good of a year, man. Like, I'm not complaining. I thought it was great. All right, let's move on. Let's head to the top of the show. We opened up again with all those cold open backstage promo stuffs. I think I missed like one or two of them, so I didn't write them all down. You enjoying those, James? I think they're kind of cool. Kind of sets.
Yeah, no, I do. It feels like it tells you beyond like being a nice preview for the night. It adds, I feel like, a little bit of flavor of, okay, I am immediately out the gate getting invested because they're invested. Like I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like to hear Kenny talking about wanting to go for that world title, but he's got to deal with Swerve, to hear Swerve menacing in the back, like it's a great way of really hyping up their stories without needing to do vignettes or like the in-between promos, which I like the in-between promos and I like the vignettes, but it is something different.
Yeah, I enjoy them a lot. So, like I said, I didn't really get them all down, but cool. All right. After that, we then went to a backstage interview with Orange Cassidy, and Renee was there to ask him about the fact that Roderick Strong left him last week during their match, and then no-showed tonight for a match they had scheduled to be tagging it together. And Orange says, well, the good thing about being in the conglomeration is that there's a lot of them. And we get the return of Tomohiro Ishii, much to the delight of Renee, who then has to tell Orange that she knows who that is when he's like, it's Ishii. So that was that. That's set up for the tag match later tonight.
Oh, I am so happy to talk about that tag match later.
We'll get to it. But we're going to head to our first match of the evening, which saw Jon Moxley face off against Mark Davis in an AEW Continental Championship Eliminator match.
Give it up for Mark Davis.
Slobber knocker.
That man, I am so invested in this man because he has been dealt bad hand after bad hand after bad hand. And he keeps
literally tonight.
Literally tonight. And he keeps coming back and giving his all. It feels like he's wrestling every match like he is making up for a year of lost time, which in an instance or two he was.
Yeah.
So I really am so rooting for this man to find success. I don't know what his path is. I don't know. Like, I'm not even talking about this match in particular. I don't know where you slot him without Doyle right now. But I want him to find some level of success because he is working his ass off and in the process delivering incredible matches.
Yeah, this was just a absolute hoss fight. He spiked Moxley with that pile. I love that pile driver he's got.
Yep.
It's it's set up like a more regular pile driver, but he can just toss dudes up in the air.
Yep.
And
it feels
bring them
like the bounce sometimes is just, oh my God.
They should call it the dunk pile driver because he's Dunkzilla, and it looks like he's dunking somebody's head into the mat. It's sick. As we mentioned, Davis did slice his hand open towards the beginning of this match. I think it was like right before the commercial. Did you see what he did? I know it was on the back of his hand.
So they said it too. He went and like missed a hit and hit either the stairs or the ring post.
Okay.
And it just opened him up, and it looked like, beyond bleeding, it looked like he probably broke it.
Yeah, if he broke it and did all that shit after, too, God bless him. But I think he's definitely going to need at least some stitches.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I give him a week or two off, but keep him on TV. But just, oh my God.
Yeah, he'll be in the background doing Callis stuff. Like, you can have him, we saw later the Callis family just beating people up backstage again. Like, you can have him do that. It keeps him strong, keeps him on TV. The end of this was both men repeatedly just hammering each other with lariats coming off the ropes. And then eventually Moxley just was able to kind of catch Davis with a headlock takeover and put Davis into the bulldog choke, and Davis was forced to tap. So it wasn't even like Davis got pinned, right? He just got caught, which I thought was a great way to protect him after such a hard-hitting match.
I completely agree. Can you answer something for me? Was Don on commentary for this match? No, right?
No, I don't believe so, but I'm pretty sure no. I think the only time we saw Don was the aforementioned backstage promo.
Which I'm fine with. I do think it is telling, and I've said this in the past, there was a very loud "fuck Don Callis" chant during the match. And I understand, but it is sort of the double-edged sword of the family being built around him and not him just being their mouthpiece. Because a lot of these guys themselves are not getting heat or getting recognized for their heat. It's all being funneled towards Callis. So that is something I always tend to have an issue with. But beyond that nitpick of the match that had nothing to do with the match itself, this is what I need from Mox right now. It's why he is such a perfect Continental champion. It's why he's such a perfect mid-card champion. He is bringing out these guys who we know are good, and he's giving them TV time and the ability to show off. And it's something that he can't really do as the world champion, because there are expectations that come with being the world champion and what those matches should be and need to be. Versus if I'm the Continental champion or the International champion or the TNT champion, it could be more about elevating people. It could be more about showcasing something a little different. And it's why I'm genuinely terrified of him losing the title to Takeshita, who I love. I wouldn't be mad at Konosuke Takeshita Continental champion, but I do think we're going to lose something vital if he drops the title to Takeshita, because of how many younger guys, how many not lesser known, but less utilized guys could get opportunities from this.
So I think you can still kind of run the same thing with Takeshita, especially if, with his impending face turn, I can see him doing stuff like that. But obviously, Moxley is slightly above him on the pecking order, or in the pecking order. So you get a bigger rub from going against Moxley and losing than, say, Takeshita. That's not to just, disrespect Takeshita at all. It's John fucking Moxley. But I think that's the nice thing about, and I know people are all mad, like, oh, we have too many mid-card titles. There's the International and the TNT and the Continental. And I guess you have the National title too, but that kind of just seems tertiary, I feel like, at this point.
It feels like such a prop right now, and I'd argue the same is true for the International title. Okada hasn't defended it. When was the last time Okada wrestled?
Collision? I don't know. I feel like I saw him have a collision match at some point, but it wasn't a big one. But I think my point was going to be was that depending on what you need from the titles, and this really is more towards about the International and the Continental, you kind of have a role for all of them. The TNT seems more like the guys who are up and coming who win these titles. I know Briscoe wasn't an up and comer, but guys like Fletcher, Jack Perry had it, Darby had it. I know Cody had it only because Cody couldn't fucking win anything else, but whatever. Sammy Guevara had it. Like, you have guys like that who are being pushed up into somewhere where they need to get a title and be able to push that way. So that's what the TNT is there for. And then depending on who has what, either International or the Continental kind of ends up being the workhorse title and ends up in this situation where it's used to elevate guys in losses, but give them exposure and stuff. It used to be the International when Mox had it, when Orange had it, I don't know about Kenny. I think he had a couple, but he didn't have it for that long. And Okada had the Continental, and he didn't do fuck all with it while the workhorse was the International. And now they flipped. So you still allow Okada to have a title with prestige, but so you just changed the workhorse title over to the Continental, and you have Moxley going out there and doing what you mentioned. So I think the title setup, surprising as it is, because there's so many of them, actually works. And that's why you're able to have this type of stuff with Moxley right now. So I like it. It's cool.
I do too. I do too.
I 100% agree with your point. Moxley going out there and having these banger eliminator matches with these guys has been a lot of fun. Also, real quick note on Moxley. That whole thing after his match with Takeshita Grand Slam, did you see about that? where apparently he called the audible to hit have Takeshita hit the Raging Fire at the end as we say hello to Mr. Penguin. That's why he's the ace, dude.
I completely agree. And it's being able to read a room, which only a veteran is really going to be able to do and have the ability to call it and let that happen. But I will also say, what did they expect was going to happen? How were they going to end the show otherwise? Not end the show, but end the segment otherwise. So while I agree, good on Mox for saying it, gotta, scratch my head a little bit and wonder, why wasn't that the plan from the get-go? I don't want to undermine it because it was a great moment from Moxley, but someone should have had the foresight to say the crowd's probably going to be somewhat disappointed.
Yeah, and I mean, we have been before. We were at Kenny Bryan, and that ended in a tie. In a time limit draw, and we were upset, but nothing happened after.
Kenny Bryan draw ended in a desperation moment, and Bryan was trying to lock in the label, and they kept fighting and throwing punches afterwards.
That's fair.
So there was a slight difference.
It did just kind of end, but maybe it was, hey, let's see who the crowd's cheering more for, and then we'll call who gets to hit their finisher at the end. Maybe that was the plan, and then Mox was just like, okay, tell Takeshita he's hitting it. But either way, I see what you're saying, but smart way to end it.
No, absolutely. Hey, doesn't matter how the sausage gets made if it's delicious going down my throat.
Hey, yo. Hey, I'm gonna just move past that. After this match, we had a quick backstage promo from Hangman and Page from Australia. They put all up on that online throughout the week. They actually played 2 backstage promos from the post Australia stuff that they had put up online right after the show. So this was one of them. It basically just he said how put over Andrade and then threatened MJF, told him that he was going to end him if Max ended up winning his match against Brody, which he did.
Yeah. Wait, what segment are we talking right now?
That was the Hangman Adam Page backstage thing. I didn't give it a banner because I was doing it really quick.
Fair. That's fair.
That then led to FTR apparently having an unscheduled visit and coming out right before commercial break, and we came back to them getting booed. And Dax,
rightfully so.
Dax is out there, and he says that he's been trying to figure out why the Young Bucks, in what he calls typical Bucks fashion, cheap shotted them last week, and it finally dawned on him. And it's because in 2016, the Bucks were the best tag team in the world. They even coined it FTR. I think that was technically Cody, but okay. But fast forward 10 years later, and they are now sitting in second place to the best tag team of a generation. Stokely Hathaway that gets on the mic, and he gives us the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And he says that's what the Young Bucks are currently doing, and it's pissing him off. What's also pissing him off is the Bucks shaking hands with the Rascals and Private Party after their match last week. And a year ago, he says, the Bucks are trying to run Private Party out of AEW. And that is the...
He's got a point, Sting. He's got a point.
Is that true? Were they trying to run them?
I mean, the heel elite were running rampant on everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, in kayfabe. I thought you were doing some backsheet stuff.
No. I didn't take it as such. Yeah. I didn't take it as such.
I was like, the Bucks love them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stokely says that is a fakeness he hates about AEW, and there's a lot of things and people he hates in AEW, but the Bucks are at the top. And under them is their mother and father, and then under them is their kids who run around backstage like domestic terrorists. This is Stokely's words, not mine.
He's never going to leave the wheelchair.
Nope. Especially because as he continued to talk shit, the Bucks came in from the crowd and super kicked. Jeez, Penguin. Super kicked FTR's heads off, and that leaves Stokely by himself. And Stokely is still talking until he finally realized that FTR is on the floor. And he turns around in his wheelchair, and he's trying to talk his way out of it. And the entire crowd keeps chanting for the Bucks to super kick him. And they do, and they cut it on HBO Max. I'm assuming it's because he was in a wheelchair.
I think it was I think the camera was just not in the right position. I don't think they were focusing on the right thing.
No. I rewound it. It skipped.
Oh, wow.
They straight cut what happens. So I don't know if one of the Bucks just yelled "fuck you" at the top of his lungs, which I don't think they would normally cut, or maybe it was because he was in a wheelchair, and you can't do that to somebody in a wheelchair. Which I don't know, man. I've seen people get pushed off of stages and down steps in wheelchairs before. I don't know what a super kick means, but either way, we just see Stokely on the mat, and then the Bucks pick up the titles and hold them over their heads. And Nick grabs a mic, and he says, "We're the number one contenders," and he challenges FTR to a title match at Revolution, and then that match gets made official later in the evening. So that was the first of quite a few Revolution matches, James, that were set up tonight, but we kind of knew this was coming already.
It's so weird watching the Bucks feud with FTR because, like, Stoke was saying, "Oh, Insanity is expecting something different." Like, don't the Bucks technically have a winning record against FTR?
I would think so.
Like, I would feel very confident challenging FTR for the tag titles. I think they've beaten them for the titles at least once.
Yeah, that sounds right. Was it at was that one at All In?
I don't even remember. Probably. But regardless of all that, it is weird watching them feud because they are intentionally kept separate on the roster a lot because they are the numbers 1 and 2 tag teams in the division, which I understand. But then when that happens, FTR, in this instance, it was FTR, have to reference things from 2016 to give heat to the feud. Like, arguably, the feud doesn't need that much heat because it is 1 and 2 fighting each other. Like, by the nature of how good they are, that should be enough. But to just add some flavor to it, like, you gotta reference older stuff with how these two teams are designed to interact. So I thought this was fun. Going into the pay-per-view in a couple of weeks, I do feel like the feud is still undercooked a little bit. And we do have a couple of weeks to get there. Like, I recognize that. But I think they're going to need to do some real building. Otherwise, this is just not going to feel like an important match. I know it's going to be a good match. It just doesn't feel like an important match quite yet.
Fair enough. I do think FTR making it really personal tonight is going to bring something out of the Bucks, probably in a promo we see next week or maybe on Saturday. So that looks like fun. And I'm sure these two guys will be able to ramp it up before they have their match. And then we will, end up having an absolute banger at Revolution.
Certified kid hater, Mr. Penguin.
Just certified hater, Mr. Penguin, right now. All right, so I pulled up the cage match between the Bucks and FTR. So we had their first match, team on team, because they had a couple of they were in some gauntlet matches and some battle royals and stuff. So just the one team on team. Their first match was November 2020. The Bucks beat FTR for the titles at Full Gear in Daly's place. The next one they had was for both the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles and the AAA World Tag Team titles, which is really funny to read now. And FTR beat the Bucks and retained their titles. That was in 2022. And then 2023 at All In. Oh, I bet FTR did defeat the Bucks and were to retain their titles at the 2023 All In. And then in January, March, April 2024, yes, I still have to do that. The Bucks beat FTR, excuse me, in a ladder match for the vacant AEW World Tag Team titles. I believe that was after Sting and Darby retired, and they had the whole tournament. And then they haven't had one since, although the Bucks did win a World Tag Team title 3-way match in August 2024 against FTR and the Acclaimed.
So they're 500.
Yeah, they're 2-2. One of them being a ladder match, but
I would take those odds.
yeah, I would too.
I would take those odds.
Yeah, you need a rubber match, I guess against these guys at the moment. So it'll be fun, and it's in the Bucks' backyard. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. All right. After this, we have another one of those backstage promos from Post Australia. This one was from Brody King. This one gets a banner because despite the fact it was also put up online, we're definitely getting more headlines out of this one because there were once again very loud "fuck Ice" chants from the crowd as Brody gave his promo. Now, shout out to Meltzer stirring the pot by falsely reporting that Warner Brothers Discovery asked for Brody not to be there last week.
We did talk about it. We did prior to Meltzer saying anything. We both did acknowledge it was a little weird that he wasn't on the show.
Yes, but we were both right in saying that this was probably just a scheduling thing so he could go do media in Australia. And spoiler alert, we were right. But because of all the steam that these chants are picking up, you kind of got a Streisand effect, even if it wasn't true, because people thought Warner Brothers Discovery was saying, don't chant that, and now everyone's going to chant it. Yep. So Meltzer might have done something great by accident, but I'll take it.
Look, not to turn this into something that it isn't, but whether AEW as a company feels something, whether Tony Khan as a person feels something, no matter what, they are not silencing the crowd, and they are not just allowing it, they are encouraging it, because they had it. Those chants were happening in Australia at Collision, and that was a pre-taped show. AEW, Warner Brothers Discovery had every ability to edit it out of the show, and they chose not to. So even if it's not Tony Khan's personal stance, even if it's not AEW's personal stance, they are not going to shy away from it, which is in its own way huge.
Well, I think this goes back to something MJF said recently in an interview where he was just like, my company allows the crowd to speak and speak for themselves. And, and when it comes to what's going on in the ring and on the program, then, we listen and we try to adapt. But when it comes to stuff like this, like that's the crowd's opinion and we're going to let them have it.
Yep. What's that funny thing? We listen and we don't judge.
So, I mean, good on AEW for, allowing the crowd to speak their minds. Absolutely. No matter what side it is. Usually. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Brody was pretty disappointed that MJF stole one and took his title opportunity from him, but he still wants to go after it. So he's looking for a fight. He says what ends up being next week on Dynamite, and he dares everyone to send their biggest and their baddest. So expect the Brody King match next week.
I do got to correct you a little bit, and it's why I'm concerned. He didn't say he's just looking for a fight. He specifically said he's looking to put himself back in the world title hunt.
Right.
So I am starting to get really nervous. He's going to turn on Bandito and go for the Ring of Honor world title.
Ooh.
Because he's not saying, I still want to go for the AEW World Championship. He's specifically wording it as, I am putting myself back in the world title hunt. And there are a couple floating around AEW right now between AEW's, Ring of Honors, CMLLs, for a second, the IWGP. So I am a little nervous. He's being very vague about what he's going to do and what he wants. He's not saying I'm trying to get back to MJF. He's not saying I'm trying to get back towards the AEW world title. I'm just trying to get back into a world title picture.
That would be terrible timing from...
See, that's why I'm so nervous, because as much as it would pain me to see Brodito break up at this point, yes, I have been broken down. I am a Brodito guy. As much as that would pain me, it just feels like shooting yourself in the foot when you've got a guy who's getting over so organically as a babyface and is drawing national, honestly, international like praise. But it's something I'm a little nervous about.
Everyone was a little nervous about it the other week when he came out after Bandito's match with MJF.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think people might have even been nervous at Grand Slam when Bandito came down.
Yep.
So, you know, hopefully.
Which was a great moment, by the way.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping they're just like, hey, they're going to be bros, and that's it. Maybe we don't neither of them turn heel on each other, especially because I think they're both incredibly over as baby faces. And like you said, you're really shooting yourself in the foot if you turn Brody heel right now. You're probably doing it twice if you turn him against his Mexican partner.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I didn't even think of that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But my God, please don't do it. I feel like I might have like
Pivot.
See, what's weird though is from a purely wrestling standpoint, like you take away any political undertone, you take away anything outside the vacuum that is the wrestling storyline, it would kind of make sense. Kinda like I could see how you would get there, and like it's certainly something that I think wrestling has done before. But when you combine it with everything else, for the love of God, just please be cool.
Yeah, just let them be cool. That's all we need. Also, shout out, I think somebody had a Fuck Eye shirt up in the rafters. So
wow. Yeah. I
think mostly it depends on the venue whether or not you're allowed to have one of those signs.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what Maria's here for, but I feel supported, so I'll take it.
All right, let's keep things rolling. Next up, we had our four-way match for the TBS Championship. Willow, Nightingale, Megan Bayne, Marina, Shafir, and Mina, Shirakawa. Everyone was banned from ringside, which I don't know if this was no DQ or not, but it was a multi-person match, so that usually inherently means it's DQ, but whatever. They were banned, and no one showed up, and that was nice. Anyway, to jump to the end of this with Willow, Mina, and Shafir on the outside, Bayne hits the ropes and takes flight, hitting all three women with a tope suicida. Bayne then picks up Mina and throws her in the ring, but Shafir is able to get up, and the two of them start trading strikes, with Marina backing Megan all the way up to the barricade in front of the timekeeper's area. Shafir starts laying in kicks, but eventually Bayne is able to catch one. She lifts Shafir up and power bombs her over the barricade into the timekeeper's area, where I am the table strikes, and Marina just bounces off of the timekeeper's table.
I don't understand how this is such a big problem in women's wrestling. Like, I understand the logistics of it. There's probably just not enough weight being driven through the table. But for the love of God, if you know that there is a women's match that's going to involve a table, gimmick the hell out of it, right? Just fuck it, like have it be held together with scotch tape.
Yeah, as long as it stands, or duct tape it, especially in the timekeepers area. Like they have a blanket over it anyway, or a tablecloth.
Exactly.
So just you could pre-break it and just like hold it together with like blue painter's tape, and then the thing will fucking explode.
Yep.
You know? Who cares? It gives Matthew more content, and I enjoy it. Shout out Botchamania. Anyway, after the power bomb, Bayne gets back into the ring, and she goes to the top rope, looking to line up Mina Shirakawa, who's obviously still in there. But Willow Nightingale meets her up there and hits an avalanche German suplex. Mina then comes to and hits a shotgun dropkick onto Willow before laying in a combination of punches and the hurricanes, the spinning back fists, and eventually knocks Willow to the mat. However, when Mina goes for the figure four, Willow is able to reverse it into a roll-up, and she keeps Mina down for the 3 and retains her title. And then after the match, Mina's upset, but Willow shakes her hand, and Mina shakes back. And then Bayne and Shafir kind of just get into a staring contest, considering they were partners for a little while. But you said it. A lot of people in the comments are saying it. James, this was an absolute banger. They gave these women time, and they utilized it perfectly and really showed out.
So I'm going to walk back something I said previously, which was I was advocating strongly for Willow to drop a title. Specifically, I think I was leaning towards the TBS title.
Yes.
I am now of the belief, let her have a run with the TBS title, but let her and Harley drop the tag titles for a specific reason that we're going to get into. But again, we'll put a pin in that for now. I thought this match was fantastic. I thought it delivered on every level. I think every woman looked great in it. I am really bummed that Mina is the one taking the pin. I knew it would be. Yeah. I knew if the title wasn't changing hands, I knew if Mina wasn't winning the title, I knew she was the one getting pinned in the match.
Yeah, especially after the kind of mini rant you went on last week about her situation at the moment.
And I feel vindicated online because I am not the only person who feels this way. There are a lot of people that feel like Mina's stock has significantly dropped since joining AEW. Like, there was somebody who was pretty much a top tier entity that they could do whatever they wanted with, to like they could push her in any direction to success. And she has definitely taken steps back, whether that's because of Tony, and by Tony I mean Storm, whether that's because of Tony, and by that Tony I mean Khan. I don't know, but it does. God, we miss you, Ricardo Montalban. Overall, the match was great. Sad to see Mina take the pin. Without getting bonked, let me say, bravo. I think the hardest worker in this match was Megan Bayne's top. That thing was wrestling its own match. It was fighting its own fight, and God bless it. It held on till the end. But this match was great. Bayne looking like a powerhouse. It's obvious. It's a matter of when, not a matter of if for her. So I think that's really cool. I'm really excited to see that. And putting her in these multi-women title matches is a great way of keeping her in the title scene without her winning it, without her getting, taking losses. So I think this was the right way for her to get booked. I'm intrigued what this means for Shafir. Her potentially feuding with Bayne would be interesting because Bayne would be backed up by Ford, and Shafir obviously would have the Death Riders, but it doesn't feel equal. She would need another woman partner.
Yeah, not to mention we saw Alina Cross debut at Grand Slam, and
which
bravo, she was going to be
happy about that.
Yeah, on Megan Bayne's side. So it's possible that Bayne has two allies to Shafir's none in the women's division.
Yes. So I'm intrigued where they go with that. Willow, now, if I may, we're going to talk about something that actually didn't happen on TV, but is legit. The footage is out. Something that I called was likely going to happen did happen. We had a debut in Australia where the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, debuted for AEW and are now all elite. Officially all elite.
Wait, when the fuck did that happen?
So the day after Grand Slam,
AEW, that House Rules?
Yeah.
But they're all elite now. I didn't say they were all elite.
Yeah, they said it in the in their promo that they're all elite.
Let's go.
So we have the Inspiration now, which is huge because they are going to do such great things. I think they are great singles performers, and I think they are obviously an incredible tag team. So they are Tony in 2 days added 3 very exciting women to their division, to his women's division. So that takes me back to Willow, who with Willow, I love her and Harley. I love Harley with that trio. Nobody on God's green earth can tell me that Harley Cameron mixed in with the Inspiration wouldn't print money. It is a printing press. It is a mint. It is a mint to print money.
Throw Kenta in there and you got yourself a deal.
I will take it. But truly, I am envisioning a scenario that I am absolutely just trying to manifest, where Harley betrays Willow to get them the Inspiration, the tag titles, and then Willow goes for the TBS title. Not Willow. Harley goes for the TBS title. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I was about to say heel Harley is going to be like weird to think about. She technically was a heel when she started, I guess, QTV. But
the first year plus was her as a heel.
Yeah, but like this version of Harley is so, I don't know, lovable that it's going to be really hard. It's really hard to picture her doing that because even as heels, the inspiration are lovable. So I guess you can keep it that way. I understand where you're coming from. You're right. Harley needs to be with them in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
But her turning on Willow is going to hurt.
I agree. It will. I think if anybody could still have fun with it, I think it's her. And heel Harley is the person who gave us, what was it, the spoon?
Knifey Spoony.
Knifey Spoony.
You know, that's a Simpsons reference.
No, I know, but was anybody else fucking bringing that to AEW? No, it was Harley.
No.
So if she brought us Knifey Spoony, I would love to see what else heel Harley could bring.
She also brought us the Anthony Bowen's Lady, I'm Gay in the middle of the rap battle.
Yes. So
and then everyone chanting, he's gay. And I was like, yay, AEW is the place to be.
I am all in on Harley joining the Inspiration. That feels like a trio that is just meant to be. So, yeah,
Yeah, Fernando's got your back, and I agree with you. I just her turning on Willow, I don't want it.
I get that.
I don't want it.
I would take. How about that? I'll make you this compromise. It's one of those things where like she's very conflicted. Like she's like we could create this scenario that they've been friends for a very long time because that island doesn't have that many people. That island nation, that island country is
pretty big, but okay.
They all find each other. Okay, it's like Mad Max. They're all populated in the same area, and they've known each other for years. She feels loyal to Willow, but at the same time, like she can't get rid of her relationship with them. The miscommunication leads to them losing the title, and then eventually she just joins them. Willow releases her. She's like, "Go be with your people. Bye bye, Butterfree. Bye bye."
What? All right, enough heartbreaking things. I'm done with you. Penguin wants to call him Shrimp on the Bobbies. Maybe it could work.
Bonk. But anyway.
I didn't even think about it that way. And Fernando, heel truth didn't last at all years ago. I guess when it comes to comedy characters, yeah, but I mean, heel truth didn't last at all. 6 months ago either. Yeah. So it's just because it's truth. But all right. Let's move on to our next thing because this is going to be probably the second biggest thing that happened tonight and definitely the second longest segment we're doing, which was the MJF and Hangman Adam Page face-to-face. So both men come down to the ring and MJF starts things off by saying he's not going to cut some cutesy wrestling promo to sell tickets or sell the pay-per-view. He's just going to give facts, and the fact is that he hates Hangman's guts. He hates everything about Hangman from the way he walks and talks, to the way he wrestles.
Easy there, Kendrick. Easy.
I was gonna say Kendrick. I was thinking more Ice-T at the Haters Ball, but play a Haters Ball.
Yeah.
He hates his holier than thou bullshit. He hates the fact that everyone calls him the main character when Max says it's clearly him, and he hates that everyone chants cowboy shit every time he walks into a room. But what he hates most is that Hangman has 2 wins over him, and that makes Max sick, especially because he believes that Hangman is what he calls a lucky shot. But MJF sees something off in Page's eyes, and maybe it's the fact that his 2 boyfriends are fighting, which, boy, did that come to fruition later.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just him referencing the internet. But Max really thinks it's because Hangman has had 2 chances to be the face of the company, and both times he has crumbled. So now he thinks that Page is looking at the title and thinking, maybe if I can get it back, am I going to be able to come through on this 3rd chance? Or will I crumble again? So Hangman may be a lucky shot, but MJF thinks he is all out of bullets.
Boom.
Yes, because MJF thinks that this is not, or he knows that this is not the man right now that he stood across from at Revolution last year. And nothing would make a better Revolution birthday for MJF than ending cowboy shit. Hangman comes back by asking how he's the lucky shot when it's the people who made him so undeniable which got good reference. I got
it too.
People made him so undeniable that they carried him to the championship twice, and that he's the man who beat the absolute dog shit out of MJF twice last year. So, no, if anyone is the lucky shot, it is the guy who took his guaranteed shot at the AEW World Championship, went home, came back with hair thicker than Mark Davis.
I love that. Great fucking promo.
It was so good. Inserted himself into the three-way match, waited on the floor, picking his ass for the right moment, got in the ring, kicked Paige in the balls, and took the spoils of greater men.
Bravo.
MJF may say that he hates Hangman, but Hangman hates him so much worse. And it's not because of anything he just said. It's not because of the years of lying and cheating that MJF has done. No, it's because when Hangman looks at MJF, he sees himself. And he has never met anyone who he sees himself more in. Max's desperation for love and success, his love for AEW, and the needing of the championship instead of just wanting it, Hangman says he is the same way, and that is why he sees himself in Max. And so at Revolution, Hangman wants to finally end all of this, and this is where I got a little confused. I think he offered MJF to pick a stipulation, saying this cannot be a normal match, and that they should let the people decide, especially Hangman knows which type of match it should be. MJF blows that off, even though he heard the people chanting Texas death, which is what Hangman was implying, saying that if Hangman thinks they're doing anything but other than a normal professional wrestling match for his championship, then Page is out of his mind. Hangman comes back and says that he knew Max was going to say that because he is scared and a coward. But if MJF agrees, he will give Max something. And that is his word. His word that if he doesn't win, and here we go, he will never challenge for the AEW Men's World Championship again for as long as he lives. This intrigues MJF. And he says that Hangman has himself a deal. But as far as the stipulation, he's going to need a week because he doesn't shoot first and ask questions later. Hangman says that's fine because he already knows his answer, Texas death. And then Hangman leaves the ring, but as he's going up the ramp, he stops for a second and he realizes what he's done, and he just kind of has an, oh, fuck, what did I do look on his face before he finally walks out. So, James, this was a phenomenal back and forth between these two men. Although I am slightly confused about what's going on here with the stipulation. Yeah. Do they both get to pick one and then the fans decide? Or does Max just have a week to say yes or no to Texas death? If Hangman loses, he can't challenge for the title anymore.
Yes. I think somebody either stumbled on the promo and things got a little muddy, or the crowd kind of beat Hangman to it, so Hangman tried playing to it. Overall, yeah, I think there was a much cleaner way of delivering this and getting there for next week.
Yeah, because the way I almost understood it was each guy gets to pick a stipulation, and then the crowd picks which one they'll do, because that's kind of what Hangman was implying. But either way, if there is a stipulation, then Hangman's putting his lifetime of title shots on the line.
Yes.
Because Max is agreeing to a stipulation. Doesn't matter which one it is. If Max doesn't agree to any stipulation, then Hangman's not putting up his lifetime title shots. So that's the way I understood it, but it could just be either there is no choice for Max, and it's just whether he decides to pick Texas death or not. And if he picks the Texas death, then
puts his shots on the line.
Yeah. Then we have what we like to call the Cody Rhodes situation.
All right. I historically have hated this stipulation. I hated it when Cody did it and lost. And I hate it when other people do it, because by the very nature of it, the fans are losing. Because either that person wins and it just feels kind of obvious that they were always going to win, or we get shocked and that person loses, and then we have to deal with the ramifications of that. There should not be a scenario where Hangman Adam Page never challenges for the AEW World Championship again. The only scenario that should apply to is if Hangman is leaving AEW to go somewhere else, which this stipulation, this segment led a lot of people online to questioning. Is his contract almost over? That's what I read a lot of tonight. So I think this is silly. I do not like it. But I do think there is a way of sort of having some fun with this. So I put a pin in earlier when talking about Swerve and Kenny. Swerve, in my opinion, took out Kenny because his goal is very straightforward. We know what it is. He wants the AEW World Championship.
And he's a very linear guy.
And he will take out anybody in his way that could stop him from winning the AEW World Championship. Kenny's gone. Revolution's going to come. What is a great way of ensuring that somebody could never could get in his way for the world title than to permanently eliminate them from that pool, than to get involved and to make sure that Max wins. Swerve costs Hangman the match. Now, again, we're left with this scenario of Hangman never wins the world title again? What the fuck? I think this could be a good way. Because I think universally, I don't think there is anybody who thought it was a good idea to stick with Cody never going for the world title again. Everybody fantasy booked. How is Cody going to get out of this stipulation?
Yeah, he's an EVP. Fuck it. Turn heel. Like, it's always the heel turn.
The heel turn. The champion challenges him. I can't call myself the rightful champion if I can't beat you. Stuff like that. There are so many ways around it that we never got to experience because Cody's an asshole.
I don't know. He's just stubborn.
I say tomato. You say potato. I think we're eating no matter what.
I say spud.
Rockstar? Got him. I am heavily inclined to have Hangman lose this. And that sucks because I think you're really, really writing yourself in the corner here. But the only way it's okay is if you genuinely have an escape plan to get out of it. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, realistically, what would make sense is Swerve gets the title. But do you have Hangman beat Swerve for the title because Swerve challenges Hangman? Do you have it that Kenny gets involved as an EVP and says, I don't give a shit. This guy took me out. You take him out now? I don't know. But I do kind of feel like Max needs to win this.
God, I'm with you. I hate this stipulation. Yeah. I think it's dumb storytelling. Usually.
I agree. I think no one would have batted an eye if they simply said, if I lose, I can never challenge you for the title again.
Yeah, and you could be like in any title reign ever.
Yeah.
So if Max and you win again, I can't go for it when you have it. But yeah, offering all of your lifetime title opportunities.
Yeah, it's just stupid storytelling.
Here's the eject button, and I saw a lot of people talking about this on Reddit during the show, and then on the thread discussing this. The eject button is Hangman said he would give his word.
My word don't mean shit.
Well, that's the thing. He's going to give his word. So as opposed to Cody, who I believe actually put it in writing, if Hangman just gives his word, the eventual heel turn, he could be just like, I don't care that I gave my word, and go back on it and challenge for the title. So you can get out of this in the future as long as you just kind of stick to that quote unquote wording of it. Not to, too many words, baby. But if you stick to that and you eventually want to get out of it, that I think is your out. Yeah. That being said, I still think it's just a dumb storytelling thing. Part of the reason you mentioned, or actually mostly for the reason you mentioned, either obvious Hangman win is obvious, or you're stuck in this scenario where Hangman can't challenge again for the title, and the only way to undo that is through some real
convoluted, stupid stuff.
Yeah, parsing of more words.
Yeah, like I don't know. I really don't want to be a bummer on this. It just feels even dumber because Hangman had the match. He's only putting his career on the line, not his career, his shots on the line so he could get the type of match that he wants. That's dumb.
Yep.
That is actively dumb. Like, it's one thing to say, I need the world title. I will do anything to get a shot at the world title, even if it means risking ever having another shot at it again. Because MJF said, I won't give him a title shot. Fine. At least I get why someone would say, if you're not going to give it to me now, I've got to do something to entice you to give it to me at all, even if it means I can never do it again. Stupid, but I get it. This is just like, it almost feels petulant. It almost feels like it feels childish and arguably, I hate saying it, a little bratty.
And it's impulsive, which is what MJF called him out for being. He was just like, I don't shoot first and ask questions last. Which I know was not what he said. I think that's a Jay-Z line. But I also, I sit down and I think about it. MJF is much more calculated, usually than Hangman. Not always. If you can get if you get MJF riled up, because again, he and Hangman are very similar. If you can get MJF riled up, he will agree to some stupid shit he doesn't want to do. So in this case, though,
and Hangman did that to him.
Yeah,
but Hangman did that to him last year. Yep. Hangman pushed him into like declaring for the title match or something. Like it's ridiculous that it feels like this was such a 180. But
Hangman's very clearly not seeing straight, though.
Yeah,
you can tell because Max referenced it, but you could tell in his character something's a little off with him.
I believe it. I think this is me being a nervous Mark. That's what this is. I am nervous that my millennial cowboy, who has in the real world made some very creative and bad decisions lately on social media, might be making some bad decisions in wrestling too.
In his defense, he's not the one who posted it.
He took it. He fucking took it.
But yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate. And I think the nervousness of the fan base and how this is all going to go down because people don't like this idea is putting, a damper on what Maria called incorrectly a top-notch excellence of a promo by both guys.
No, absolutely.
This was awesome.
Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah, like MJF Hater of the Year, like all of this stuff was great, and instead we're sitting here poo-pooing on it because this is just a dumbass idea.
We're what, 6 years later, and we're still traumatized by what Cody did.
Yeah.
So, like, I have to believe they know that. I have to believe that they know we are so against this because of what had happened in the past that they are going to play with that. I have to. Because on so many different levels, it just doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah, especially because if I'm not mistaken, the reason Cody lost that match is MJF threw in the towel and then got in the ring and kicked him in the balls.
Yep.
And that was MJF's like real heel turn or establishment as a heel.
He was Cody's shitty friend up until then.
Yes, and then that turned him into the MJF we all know and hate.
Yeah. Let's hit some of these comments up because you guys were very active with us and we appreciate it. Maria saying that she thought that Hangman was going to put his career on the line.
There's clearly only earmarked for Gunther.
Yeah, seriously.
Also, Heyman's like my age. Like, he's 32, 33. Like, he ain't putting his career on the line anytime soon.
And not in a believable way.
Yeah.
Maria saying it should be a dog collar match. That's where I was going with it, but the women just had one, and that is not a match that you should just have back to back.
When the women have a dog collar match?
Didn't Statlander and
That was a strap match, my guy.
who the are? So I'm sorry. You are correct, Maria. You're correct too. I apologize. It's the same thing.
It's not. One involves dog collars and a chain, and the other involves a leather strap.
That they're still connected to.
Yes,
It's the same idea.
I think being connected by your neck is a little bit worse than by your wrists.
I mean, maybe. I can't say I have much experience with either, but regardless, it's too similar a match to have right now.
I disagree.
You think a dog collar match and a strap match aren't similar enough that you should space them out a little bit?
I think dog collars get much more violent, and therefore they'd be okay.
I don't know. I would wait minimum 6 months before having any kind of attachment level match between top talent right now. I'd wait like 6 months.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Agree to disagree.
Fair enough. See, this is how it should work. I say something right, you say something wrong. I let you just we're cool. We're cool.
Okay.
Doesn't that guarantee Hangman wins? We don't know. Because unfortunately, the very first instance of this happening in AEW, that guy lost. So there's no guarantee of anything.
It's very fair.
Penguin saying MJF for the win. I don't like it, but I think so.
It does, gut, instant reaction is, yeah, probably.
Yeah. My only thing that I will say to maybe support Hangman winning it is Tony has done a lot in the last 6 months, longer, to indicate that the world title scene is meant to be unpredictable.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's been hot-shotting, but compared to what he usually has.
Yeah, compared to what the wrestling scene in general has right now. Every company is doing long title reigns. Or long-ish title reigns. So Moxley to Hangman to Joe to MJF all happened within a 6-month period.
Yep.
So I think that I think if he wanted to continue that and just surprise us, sure. Because there is a shock in saying MJF just had a quick title reign. But who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Puts a lot of doubt in Max's head too, which could make for some cool character work.
Eric saying Hangman's contract ends in 2027. Yeah, that's 2 years without a title match. And that's assuming he leaves. I personally can't imagine Hangman leaving for WWE.
That's also assuming that's the end of 2027. There could be the beginning of 2027. It could be the middle, but yeah.
It could be an AJ Styles situation.
Right, he'll be here in a couple weeks.
Let's see how the appreciation night goes next week on Raw. Maria saying Hangman loses and all year long he goes through obstacles to get back into the main event scene. Definitely, but again, it goes to what Rev was saying, that it's like words will get us back. A lot of convolution and a lot of why were we here in the first place kind of thing.
It's also wrestling. Nothing matters, know? No one ever stays retired. No stipulations never hold forever. People forget, or they just don't care and they write their way out of it because it's wrestling.
Yep. Eric saying Fatal 4-Way at All In. I don't think so. I think All In is reserved for Will Ospreay.
Probably.
A Will Ospreay who they are very much teasing the return of. I don't think they'd be doing these weekly vignettes if he wasn't gunning to come back.
Yeah.
Fernando, Hangman not being able to go for the world championship can be excellent long-term storytelling because Hangman is a better chaser than a champion. See, I agree with you on the back end that Hangman is a much better chaser than champion. But the
he has to
problem
be able to chase.
Exactly. Like, you are eliminating the chaser part of it if he cannot go for the title, which is when he's at his best and most captivating. So you're handicapping one of your best talents in their strongest fields. So it's what makes me nervous, Fernando. Hangman, it's saying if Hangman or AEW changes their name, he can go for the world again. That's fair. He also very clearly indicated the men's world championship.
Yeah, is he gonna go for the women's? Well, hey, you know what's got a point. It is in the wrestling handbook, or he just throws on a mask.
Yep.
Como se dice Hangman in Espanol? He does speak Spanish.
We get Hangman in a mask and it's just fucking Bandito.
Hangman is the only one who knows how to manipulate MJF. I find it very interesting. I think there's a couple other people who kind of get under his skin. Punk was one who really was able to manipulate him, but obviously he's not there anymore.
He was able to get in his head, but I don't know that he ever manipulated MJF the way Hangman has routinely.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to what Hangman was saying in the promo, that they're just very similar guys. It's a really funky funhouse mirror reflection of the two, but it's, I see how we get there. I see how Hangman says that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe Joe did a little, but maybe it's more in your head than manipulate, but yeah.
Yeah. Arguably Cole, because Cole did manipulate MJF, but we don't talk about that.
But I think kind of in terms of getting what you want at a max, Hangman's the best guy who's been able to do it.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree.
We're saying to hell with Cody. I got it, dude.
Yes, we did acknowledge this. Kenny is not going to be at the pay-per-view, but we've known that. Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Eric. So yes. See, it was a strap match. Get your stipulations right.
It's the same thing.
Junkyard Dog is turning over in his grave at you saying that. Let's see. Maria says MJF just got the title. He's not going to lose it.
I mean, Joe did.
Yeah, that's, I guess, the thing. Eric is saying Ospreay versus 2, he would be in the aforementioned Fatal 4-Way. Maybe, but
I think it would be Ospreay versus Swerve for the title.
It'd be Ospreay versus whoever has the fucking title. I don't think it really matters.
I just wouldn't take away from the hometown kid kind of thing. I wouldn't dilute that by, well, we kind of like Kenny Omega. We kind of like Swerve Strickland. I would just want Ospreay to get all of the support against whoever the champ is.
Yeah, especially if it is a very evil heel Swerve.
Yeah.
Which we might get back. We're say Stone Cold wasn't able to challenge for the WWE Championship because of Vince, and they were able to book themselves out of that. Yeah, look, that's what I'm saying. There are ways you can book yourself out of this. It's just 90% of the time they're just super lame, and then you just go with it because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's pretty much everything we have to say about that for now. This is obviously going to go for a couple more weeks, so hopefully we get a little more clarification on it next week. In the meantime, after this, we had a backstage promo from the Death Riders, which I could not stop laughing at because Moxley said woof, because he can't say wolf, which is if you've never seen
that's
Renee,
a long-term bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Renee make fun of him for not being able to say wolf in a backstage interview from WWE, I highly recommend looking it up after we're done here. But anyway, Moxley says that I think he screwed up in the beginning because he said the strength of the pack is the wolf, and then he said the strength of the wolf is the pack. And yes, I'm saying it like him on purpose. But he doesn't like wolves because they're too needy. He says the Death Riders are more like coyotes because they are able to adapt and survive. Pac then steps in. He calls out the Don Callis family. He tells them to round up some guys for a match on Saturday, with Garcia saying that they're not a real family because they're not willing to die for this. Mox then comes back in and challenges Takeshita for a Continental Championship match, at Revolution with no time limits, saying they will go until one of them gets the other, and there is a definitive winner. And then that match later gets made official by one Tony Khan.
I just want to hit this comment real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Eric saying Swerve losing it all in again with a forced heel turn isn't the move. But he's not losing again. Like, Swerve beat Ospreay the last time they had a world title match. And the whole point of that story was Swerve was telling Will, you're not ready. You're not at that level yet. You're great. You're one of the best. But I'm better than you. And that was Swerve saying it as a face. That was a babyface Swerve doing that. To have a heel Swerve going against the biggest babyface you could put in that match. And Ospreay winning? Oh my God. Like, how? I don't think you could get a bigger reaction from that crowd.
Yeah, not to mention, you say forced heel turn. You mean like the heel turn that just happened tonight?
Yeah.
that didn't feel very forced at all.
Wait, I'm so confused with what he's saying with a heel turn that was random as hell at the time. I'm not even busting his chops. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know what heel turn he's talking about either. Maybe it was one of Swerve's old ones, but...
And regardless, like, this heel turn tonight was... We talked about it earlier in the show. Even if you disagree, that's fair. You have your right to be wrong. But, like, it was such a natural heel turn tonight that him turning heel... Like, arguably, the only thing that works against what I'm saying is that the time frame of Swerve winning the title to All In would probably be just a little too short to be super satisfactory. But, like, clearly they're fine with the shorter title reigns if it serves the story. Joe being champion for the short amount of time that he was champion served the story, and nobody had a problem with it.
Yeah. Also, too, who knows? It could be against MJF. You know, Max could hold the title all the way to then.
Arguably, you are absolutely correct. I wouldn't really want to see that again. Like, Will already beat him. Max already beat Will. Will came out victorious in the end. I'd rather, if Will's going to win the title, it's going to be from somebody he couldn't beat. He couldn't beat Hangman, so I'd be fine with him versus Hangman. He couldn't beat Swerve, so I'd be happy versus him versus Swerve. He has beaten Kenny, but he's only beaten Kenny with heel help. So I wouldn't mind him versus Kenny. And then we're also, mystery carding this, that if somehow AJ Styles debuts in the next month and wins the world title, I'm not fucking saying no to that.
Neither is Will.
So let him win there. But again, going back to Eric's thing, like, with 3 weeks prior just to lose it at All In, All In's going to be in August. We're in February. Like, and he's a heel now. I don't know if you didn't see the show tonight. I'm not even saying that mockingly. I don't know if you didn't see the whole show tonight, but Swerve is officially a heel now, and, like, there's no walking that back.
I also don't even really remember Swerve going full-blown heel before the Bryan match. I could be wrong. It was very tweener, it felt to me.
He was a babyface who was absolutely playing the heel for that feud.
Yeah.
Like, he was giving Bryan the shits.
No, that's how I remember it. Like, he was, he was absolutely
I got it. And this says more about me than it does him, so I apologize. My point, Eric, I did say that I was having trouble understanding your point, but I think I understand your point is, your point being, why turn Swerve heel just to have him lose again at All In? That is what you're saying, because that's what happened with Swerve and Bryan. Swerve played the heel against Bryan to lose it at All In. The difference here is Swerve immediately reverted back to being a babyface. He was simply playing the heel in that feud. And here, very clearly, Swerve is going to be heel for a while. Even if it ends at All In, we're talking February to August. That is a justifiable heel turn that isn't forced in the slightest. This was a very natural and earned heel turn that has been built up for a while now. So it is very apples and oranges. And yes, you can compare fruit, but you're going to get a different flavor. You're going to get a different taste here.
Yeah.
and he's saying just having heel Swerve losing twice at All In within a 2-year time span is silly to me. I mean, you had him have that big win at All In Texas where he and Ospreay teamed up to take out the Bucks. So there's even more. I feel like I'm proving my point a little bit.
Talk about it on Sunday. Let's move on. Next up, we had Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii versus War Dogs, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors. And this one got a little bit off the rails because after he got taken down by a Kid comeback or lariat after a phenomenal sequence where Ishii and Kidd were just beating the shit out of each other, Ishii looks like he got hurt.
Yeah.
The commentary wasn't sure if it was his hip, maybe his hamstring. Either way, he was hobbling a lot. He was having a bit of trouble standing, but it's Tomohiro Ishii, so the crazy motherfucker.
He's going to fight through it.
Yeah, so he keeps battling. Orange comes in and tries to help where he can, but mostly Orange is kept to the outside. And that eventually leads to Kid bringing Orange over to the barricade and dropping him midsection first on top of it. And then Kid hops to the other side to hit Orange, presumably in the face. But when he does so, he turns his back to the crowd, and that allows Darby Allin to come in and whack him upside in the back with his skateboard. And then he takes Kid and kidnaps him again and just drags him out through the ring, beating him up as he goes. Back in the ring, Connors is still taking it to an injured Ishii, but Orange comes in for the save, eventually hits a tilt-a-whirl DDT, and then Ishii somehow hits the stalling suplex and pins Connors for the win. And then after the match, Orange and the ref, I didn't see who it was, I'm sorry, attempted to help Ishii out of the ring, and it looked like he couldn't make it out. So I think he is legit hurt. Commentary was guessing his hamstring. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looks. And if it is, that really sucks because the dude just got back from a long-term shoulder injury.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been a fan of Ishii for a long time now, basically since my first foray into New Japan.
Yeah, because he's been there, I think, since 1996.
I mean, I'm gonna let you in on something. Ishii is not as old as you'd imagine. He is like 40-something. All right, no, I'm sorry. He is 50 on the dot. Okay. He looks 55, 60. I know that. I get that. But he is 50. So he is older, so it's not surprising that this guy has got a lot of wear and tear on him, especially wrestling strong style. But yeah. No matter what, it's unfortunate. And it's bigger because, I correct me if I'm wrong, this is Ishii's first ever AEW win.
No, there's no way. Oh, like getting a pinfall?
Yes.
Because he's definitely been in matches with a conglomeration where they've won.
I don't know that that's 100% accurate. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't think it's the guarantee that you're making it seem like. I know you're going to cage match. I'll riff while you look it up, but
I was just trying to see when he debuted in New Japan and was around 04, 05. He really was in there in 06, but I was going to look for his AEW record.
Yeah, no, I would look it up if you could. But overall, it's a bummer to see anybody get hurt. I think, given the story of the match, and only thinking about the match, not thinking about his well-being, his health, I think they nailed what they were going for overall. They were able to limp across that finish line a little bit. It helped to have
literally limp across the finish line.
It helped to have the distraction from Darby. It helped to take somebody out of the match. Like, all of that stuff worked to cover up as best they could what could potentially be, an injury that impacts Ishii's well-being in his future. But not much to say beyond that. The conglomeration is a fun mess. It is like the polar opposite of the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
But,
well, except with the same amount of injuries. It's
exactly.
They can't keep bringing in new recruits the way that Don does.
I mean, they could. Orange just literally needs to walk up to somebody, and I feel like that is how you join the conglomeration.
Yeah, or Mark.
Yeah, or Mark. But have you found anything on Ishii? And
Yeah, so I'm AEWresults.com, which I'm assuming is accurate. Ishii has 42 appearances in AEW. He's 0-18 in singles matches, 3-4 in tag. I'm not sure if that's including tonight's. No, it is not.
Okay.
So he's 4-4
Right.
in tag now. 8-3 in trios matches.
Okay.
And 4-1 in multi-man matches. I don't know.
All right, I stand corrected, but I will say I don't think it was the slam dunk like, oh, he had to have won before, because it was definitely a thing that people were like, why the fuck does he keep coming back?
Yeah, no, I knew absolutely the conglomeration has won some tag matches with him. Now, granted, again, I don't know if that means he's pinned people in said tag matches.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he is 15-26 overall in AEW. However, he is 10-3 in Ring of Honor.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So he's got some of that.
American soil wins.
You know what? Harping on Orange, helping out his partner. I don't. Honestly, I do feel a little bad because when it happened, I think Orange was on the outside, and the match script had him on the outside for a while by himself. So I'm not entirely sure if anybody had communicated to him
that something was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he came in the ring and hit a big move and then had a tope right back out. So same thing. Like, I don't know if anyone would say like, "Hey, Tomo's hurt."
Yeah.
I have no idea if he knew. So we figured it out. And then Maria saying that Tomo needs to retire, send him to Gunther. No, we love the Stone Pitbull here.
I will say, Ishii from 10 years ago versus Gunther would have fucking, no pun intended here, slapped.
Now I want to get back on cage match. I wonder if that ever happened. It's possible.
Yeah.
Gunther, when he was still Walter, he was all over the place in the Indies.
A lot of independent wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe. Who knows?
Yep.
I'll look it up later. All right. We then went to a Don Callis family backstage promo. So Josh Alexander was the one cutting it, holding the ankle lock as he does.
I thought that was great. I thought that was fucking
So they've been doing this for a while on Collision. It's nice to see that they brought it over to Dynamite because it's funny because he's just standing there and you really can't see the ankle lock until they zoom out. But meanwhile, you just have Archer and Rocky, and it looked like Clone was back there just beating the shit out of people. While Alexander's cutting the promo in which he accepted the Death Riders challenge for the match on Saturday. And then that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, came over and he was like, "Hey, what you guys going on over here?" And they all start laughing. And then he starts explaining that Konosuke Takeshita is still in Australia celebrating Kyle Fletcher's win. But he accepts Mox's challenge for Revolution on Takeshita's behalf. And then Kazuchika Okada comes over and he says, as Kyle's best friend, interesting, he wishes he could be there celebrating, but he came to work today because he is a champion, unlike Takeshita. Okada then brings in Andrade and calls him the uncrowned AEW World Champion, to which Andrade says that he still has eyes on the AEW World title. And the mention of the world title actually gives Don an idea. And he calls out the CMLL World Heavyweight Champion, Claudio Castagnoli, and he says that title would look great on the mantle of the Don Callis family. And then is later made official that Claudio will be facing Josh Alexander on Saturday for that championship.
So two things. One, I cannot wait for that matchup. That is gonna be a banger.
Banger alert.
Claudio versus Alexander, just great. I really felt like they were setting up for Andrade to challenge for the CMLL World Championship.
Right, that's what it felt like, and I was like, that's Andrade could maybe win that.
And I was like, oh, okay, that works. Give him a world title. Not what I was expecting. What I was expecting. I'm not going to complain. It's going to be a good matchup, and I'm very excited for it. But it really did feel the other way. And maybe they're building that then instead for Revolution. Maybe. I don't know. But I that felt like a swerve.
No, he was in the main event. Sorry.
Honestly, you're not.
I honestly felt that way too. That's where I thought they were going, and I had to watch it back and be like, did he say "N world title" or "the world title"? And he said the AEW world title. So after that commercial, we came back to Hook, the new boss of the Ops, while Samoa Joe is out, and his first order of business as a new boss is recruitment. He's got to get their numbers up. So he sent Shibata over to Japan so he can recruit overseas while he handles the domestic recruiting. And he says he knows all about that because he was heavily recruited as a top D1 athlete. So he's the best recruiter. And yeah, he's the boss of the ops. Good for him. Following that, we had the TV debut of the Brawling Birds, as they faced off against Reddit's favorite wrestler, Viva Van, and Becca. And I had to look that up, and apparently that is how you spell Becca.
I felt so bad for Viva Van and Becca because they had a split second where they were introduced, and then they both go for like a more elaborate pose, and the camera just awkwardly cuts back to the Birds, who are not really doing anything. Like, they're kind of posing to the crowd, but it's not like a moment. I'm like, you couldn't keep the camera on them for another 5 seconds.
They didn't even get like a title, like a name plate.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't get nothing. So
I thought that was bizarre.
Yeah, and which was unfortunate because people know Viva Van pretty well, especially over on Reddit, and apparently Reddit knows Becca too. I guess she's pretty big on the indies as well. So people kind of wanted to watch them, and they got a little screwed, and they also got a little messed up. Now, Van and Becca had a good match. They actually got some decent offense in. Becca had that really cool double mid-rope stunner, which was nice. But for the most part, this was pretty quick. The Birds took it home, obviously. And it looks like they're using the heart attack as their finisher.
And it looks good with them. Like, it looks like it suits them.
Yeah, and it makes sense, too, especially both these women use a lot of lariats in their offense, especially Hater with the Haterade as her finisher. So heart attack works well for the two of them. They seem like they're gelling well. So I'm excited to watch that tag team go in the future. But, this is just kind of a showcase match to get people used to them as a team. Mm-hmm. After that, we went to a backstage interview with Chris Statlander and the returning Thunder Rosa.
Random. Random. I'm happy to have her back, but so random.
Last time I saw her, she was at the Superb Owl. Anyway, protecting myself there. I don't know if we can say that. Renee starts by talking to Statlander, and she mentions that Statlander is not cleared following her strap match for the title with Tekla, saying she's probably not going to be cleared for another 1 to 2 weeks. And Stat says even though she's not cleared to wrestle, she doesn't want to wrestle. She just wants to fight. And then Renee turns to Thunder on the other side, and she just got cleared to wrestle. And because Rosa doesn't like the way Statlander got treated by what she called the children, she's willing to step up to them and Tekla since Statlander is out. Stats warns Thunder, though, because she's been out for a while, that Tekla is indeed dangerous. And Thunder says it'll be fine, as she's the best she has ever been. And besides, and what she says in Spanish is she likes the toxic, or something to that degree. And then Rosa is later announced to be facing Julia Hart on Collision, one of the children.
Yep.
Following that, in the time slot of death, which this very much was not, we had Kevin Knight versus the Beast Mortos. And in a picture-in-picture promo before the match, Knight said that if Mortos can beat him, he will give LFI a trios title shot. But spoiler alert, Kevin Knight beat Mortos following a flurry of offense, including a big splash that was following a slam, a top rope hurricanrana, a pendulum DDT, and finally the UFO splash from the top rope to pick up the win. But I do want to briefly talk about this, James. I know we're just pretty much wrapping up here, but you can see why Mortos was rated the most, or voted the most underrated wrestler in the Wrestling Observer Awards, because A, he is amazing, but B, I thought he was the perfect guy to pair with Knight here as they continue to push Knight and give him all these big singles wins and really kind of feed his ego, which is what I've been noticing. But putting a high flyer against Mortos, who's very used to facing those type of dudes, was a stroke of genius.
Absolutely. Commentary called it out too. They always proclaim it. He has a very anti-aerial offensive or defensive, I guess. He is designed to battle these high flyers, and he does it so well. This was the match in particular that I was sort of referencing earlier, where I was so excited for Kenny versus Swerve that as matches were just being unveiled, I'm like, fuck, I just want to watch Kenny. But then this one, and I saw Mortos, and I was like, I'm not happy, but I'm happy. And
if you're gonna make me wait, I think I can tolerate this.
Exactly. Like if you found the one combination that was gonna keep this going for me, and you did it. Good job. But I'm very happy for him. I think we're gonna get him on TV more going forward because he's done with his schooling, from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, he got his law degree and shit.
So I hope this means he gets some more time on Dynamite and Collision, not just being a Ring of Honor guy. We'll see. I really don't know what the status of LFI is. At one point or another, I feel like Roosh is always injured. So I don't know what's going on there. Like I know Sammy is kind of healing it up while being in the heel group. So I truly don't know what's going on. But regardless, more Mortos on my TV is always good. Kevin Knight, more time on my TV is always great. I do think, I feel like as somebody who loves the concept of the trios titles and just trios in general, it really does. It's starting to feel like the trios titles being on Jet Speed is a cop out to not just put the tag titles on them. Because I don't even think Hangman came out with the trios title tonight.
I don't think so either.
And I don't think they've wrestled a trios match since they've won it.
No, we're about to get to that. Yeah, they have not, at least according to the demand.
So it's like, I get why the story demanded, no pun intended, I get why the story demanded it with Joe and the Ops with the trios titles and also being wrapped up in the world title picture. There had to have been a better way to handle this with the trios titles.
Probably. I also think they were doing this and for multiple reasons. One, like you said, it was involved in the world title picture. Two, the Hobbs situation. And three, yes, they probably figured, oh, this would be a great way to get a title on the Jet Speed.
And I get that, but that's what I mean when I say it feels like a cop-out. Just put the tag titles on them. Like, I don't think anyone's necessarily complaining we're getting FTR versus the Bucks. But we also did acknowledge that it does feel a little, we're doing it to do it.
Yeah, maybe this is just a contingency plan. Maybe Jet Speed was going to get the tag titles, but because they couldn't come to terms with Hobbs, apparently, that came down to a fairly last minute thing that Tony had to kind of just call a quick audible.
And I get that, but I don't want to criticize anybody here, but it's not like they didn't know his contract was running up.
You got to be ready.
Yeah, they didn't need to wait until the last minute to take the titles off of them. They could have taken those trios titles off of them at any point when they got challenged by the demand, which did happen. There were a couple of teams that challenged for it. So I don't want to be a stickler. I don't want to be, grump about it. But I do think that the trios titles are almost purposely being just neglected here. It feels like you said, the tag titles should be on Jet Speed. They're not on Jet Speed. So this is a way to just say Jet Speed have won gold at some point in AEW.
Yeah. And while they're pushing Knight, he has a title in his hands, which I think is cool.
And in the theoretical spot of Ricochet and the Demand winning it, you still have another instance of a singles champion holding the trios titles. It feels weird.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, Maria is saying they should just scrap them. I know you're a big fan of trios stuff, so
I don't think you need to, but do it right at one point or another. And correct me if I'm wrong here. There have been instances with the majority of the mid-card titles, or any title that isn't a world title, that we've thought to ourselves, this feels a little superfluous. Thank you. And we could get rid of this belt. There were times that the tag titles felt like they were just in the absolute shits. And now they feel super important. Even though, again, we're talking about FTR and the Bucks again. The TNT title felt like an afterthought for a while, and now it's on one of the hottest acts in wrestling in AEW and Fletcher. So the Continental title, which wasn't defended for like half a year, if not longer. Moxley's doing wonders with it. So you could very easily heat up the trios titles, but for the love of God, do it. Don't just say, yeah, we have the trios titles on an important act.
Yeah, they haven't really heated those titles up almost ever, maybe since the Elite had them. So maybe that's just part of the problem. I agree with you. It's a weird spot. I don't love where those titles are, and we'll close the loop on that all in a second. But it's saying trios should be held by young up-and-comers, not the vets and guys in their prime. And I semi-agree with that. I don't mind like having all vet in the trio because that gives, that makes sense. But like if you had like, like the Acclaimed, or I was going to say even somebody who's still currently a team, Skyflight. Scorp's a vet, but then you have Dante and Darius, and that could be a solid trio, and you just have them go out there and just put on bangers. Especially with Dante and Darius out there, just have them do flippy shit all the time. So there's a balance to it, but I understand where you're coming from. There is an opportunity for them to be on people who will defend them more, especially if they're on faces. But right now, they just got thrown into a bad situation, and hopefully Tony can get his way out. To wrap up a couple of notes here, Maria's saying Hangman didn't come out with the trios title, but he did cut a backstage promo on MJF with one. I think that was the earlier one.
I'll take it.
Australia. And just to wrap up yourself about LFI, Mortos is one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. I think Sammy is the other half. I probably should have kept
Sammy has a tag team title. I didn't know that Mortos was his partner. Why the fuck didn't he have the belt?
I was just gonna say, he didn't. Yeah, Sammy does have the other title. I don't know why he didn't come out with it, but they did mention it. I
think it's because Sammy is holding both titles.
Oh, in that case, physically.
In that case, fine. But I can't even 100% guarantee that. But I'm going to cling to it for some level of sanity.
He was announced as the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, and they mentioned it on commentary. Yes, Mortos definitely does deserve to graduate from jobber status. And not only that, I think he will, because he was voted most underrated. Tony will probably pick up on that and do something more with him.
Yes.
The Rascals should win the trios titles ASAP. I think they will. They should, and they will.
Yes.
They're probably the best guys for it. They're similar to what I just said about Skyflight. There are dudes you can just go out there and let them just put on banger week after week.
Have the Demand win the trios titles and then have the Rascals win it off them. I think that's it.
Speaking of the Demand, following that Will Ospreay video package you mentioned, although on that really quick, this isn't where the best wrestle, it's where the Billy Goat wrestles is a great closer. The Demand was backstage, and Ricochet says that now that he has put down Jack Perry and he's got the national championship on lock, he can turn his attention to more important things like getting the Demand some gold. Then we have Bishop Khan jumping in, calling out Jet Set Rodeo, saying that if Kevin Knight wants to throw around trios title challenges, then they'll gladly step up, especially since they haven't defended the titles even once since they have won them. And then Tola Yona comes in, and he caught a great promo in the amount of time he was given. He's like, every time we face you, Jet Speed and Trios, we get the win. And then he starts going, now we're the sharks who smell the blood in the water, and we're coming for you, and we're going to eat you. And then he's doing great. And Ricochet's like, oh, calm down. And it was only like 15 seconds, but Yona absolutely killed it, especially for a guy who doesn't speak a lot. And then Ricochet says, come Saturday, they will be taking the Trios championships. And then the Demand turns to go into their locker room, but they find a knife in the door. And obviously that is referencing Jack, but Ricochet pulls it out and he just starts laughing, almost if it was a prank one of them pulled. And he doesn't take it too seriously.
It's the feud that won't end.
Oh, Jack and Ricochet.
Like, for such a minor feud that I feel like isn't getting a lot of TV time, it is also just dragging on. It's a very weird dynamic.
one of those, hey, here's a reminder, and when Luchasaurus comes back, we have to run this back because you took him out things, but hopefully it kind of goes on the back burner for a little while.
Clearly, this is just setting up for Marco to team up with them one last time. Kick them out.
I think he just had his retirement match, actually.
So, all right, so Marco announced his retirement last year. And then I can confirm, because I was there for this, GCW announced back in January that I believe in March, it's going to be his retirement show.
Cool. So maybe he runs it back once more with them.
Once more.
All right, I wanted to clean up a couple of comments we missed just because they were a little bit out of order here. Looks better than the Hart Foundation doing the finisher in reference to the Brawling Birds hitting it for their
I mean, I think they look better than the Hart Foundation, too.
Fair enough. Let's see. Maria also saying that Andrade and Okada are going to conspire against Takeshita. Okada already is. We'll see about Andrade. He's still pretty new. But I wouldn't be surprised, as you know, it's saying that leads to Andrade and Okada against Takeshita and Fletcher. Now, I don't know when that would take place, especially because we really got to see on what side of all this Kyle comes out on. But hopefully he doesn't just abandon his boy there.
See, it's so weird because I truly think in my bones Fletcher works better as a heel and will work better as a heel than he will as a face.
Yeah.
But for the story, I want him to be with Takeshita. But I really don't know. And I also, on top of it, I don't know if it should be like, at one point we were pitching like a callous civil war. But I don't know if it should be a full-on civil war where it's like the family is divided evenly, or if it should just be the two of them against the family. I don't know. Because when you look at the bodies, I feel like Okada, Andrade on one side, Takeshita Fletcher on the other side. I put Alexander on the Okada side.
Yeah.
Rocky on the Okada side.
Yeah.
Probably Archer on the Okada side.
Yep.
And then on the Fletcher Takeshita side, I guess you put Davis.
Yeah, but I could also see Davis being on the other side just because him being like, you basically abandoned me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if it's going to be a full-blown civil war. It might just be the two of them. And I could also even see a fake-out face turn for Fletcher where he does join Takeshita
I agree.
for a while.
I thought that too, yeah.
And then he's just like, nope, psych, I'm still with Don.
Yep.
Which would hurt, but
yeah, it would.
The last thing Maria was just asking, did you hear yesterday that Cena was not supposed to win the WWE Championship at Mania originally?
So what I read from the interview and what I listened to with the interview, John was saying that way back when Roman was still the tribal chief, Cena was originally supposed to beat him in their match, win 17, and then somebody, he didn't say who exactly, but I think we know who it would have been. Somebody, probably The Rock, would have come out and had the match restarted. And then Roman would have won it back. Now, whether that leads to the 17th counting and then they just had like another match, or it was one of those like Chris Jericho things where he beat Triple H, but then they reversed it and then they continued the match.
A true dusty finish.
Yeah, true dusty finish. I don't know. But yes, apparently the plan was Cena was going to win it at, I think it was SummerSlam when Roman was champion. So like 2 years ago, 2+ years ago. But that changed because Brock was coming back and then they decided to just have Brock throttle Cena and go after Roman.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, all I'm hearing is Cena could have potentially won 18 and we didn't get it. That's what I'm hearing.
Still before short of Ric Flair. Anyway.
Those don't count. Get the fuck out of here.
Depending on who you ask. That was Dynamite. And James, we said it quite a few times throughout the night. AEW's on a fire right now. And
Absolutely.
This was another great show, buoyed by, I think, 2 phenomenal matches in the women's 4-way. And yeah, and the main event. You had 2 great segments with Hangman and MJF and the aftermath of the main event. And you throw in a match like Mortos and Knight in there, and you're cooking with gas.
I agree. I think
and let me not disregard Moxley and Davis either.
Yeah, absolutely. I think undeniably AEW is on a hot streak right now. And whether you think that hot streak is just their recent string of dynamites, whether you think it's their overall year or, something in between, they're looking good right now. They're looking good right now. The product feels good right now, and the product feels exciting right now. So let's keep building on it. I think Tony's doing a great job of capitalizing on a lot of positivity, whether that is news media because of Brody King, whether that's because of just the product itself and wanting to build up to this pay-per-view that is 2 months, 3 months in the making. Just overall, it's a very exciting time to be watching the show. So I am looking forward to next week. I am looking forward to the pay-per-view, especially the pay-per-view. I'm very, very excited for it. I know I'm going to be Kenny-less for the next few weeks, for the next month or so, which is a bummer. But, yep. But I'm very, for the first time in I think a long time, I'm captivated at the possibilities of where a lot of these stories are going. It's not just that I'm entertained, that I'm along for the ride. I am actively trying to piece together what I think makes sense. So it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I am enjoying the hell out of myself watching this every week. I was trying to think, you're like, well, the last year or so of AEW, and I'm trying to think, where was that turning point from the down year of 2024? And I was trying to think back, and really it's kind of the middle of that Copeland Moxley feud.
I agree with you. I people in our pod disagree with us, but I agree with you that it was right in the middle of that feud.
Yeah, I think that's when it really started coming back, and or at least started to go back on the upswing, and it hitting the peak of its upswing when Hangman beat the title off of Moxley at All In, or just All In general. But from that point on, Tony has been on an absolute fucking heater, and he's continued it into the first, into the second month of the new year now, and it's fun. It's always fun to be an AEW fan, but it's really good to be one right now.
100%.
It's also really good to be a Market Down fan.
Our Market Down. Market Down. There's another.
Let's not start a feud and or give the man free traffic. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribe. If you liked the video, let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show. We'll keep it going. And if you subscribe, continue to get all the great stuff here on the channel. I got the gym back zone tomorrow, I presume.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. If for those of you who guys like Impact as they continue their new show, or not, new show, their new home, on their new home on AMC. We will obviously be back here next week for Dynamite as well. Be sure to check out Grap Chat on Sundays. Mondays when it comes out. They record on Sunday, sorry. So it comes out on Mondays. For those of you guys who like more of a sit down thing with the producer boy and Danny, and Matt's there sometimes. James is trying to get on one as well. So be sure to check that out if you want to talk more about some more predictions of what's going to happen down the line with different companies, some what ifs, and some greatest hits and whatnot.
We will be attending House of Glory this Friday, so our social media should definitely have some content regarding that. If Rev and I are feeling extra adventurous, maybe we'll cover the show the next day at some point. Maybe. I know us. I don't want to guarantee anything, but it would be nice if we did.
We're busy on Saturdays.
There's going to be a lot of AEW talent on the show between AEW World Champion MJF, Andrade, Private Party. There's going to be a lot of talent there. And more than anything, also check out Matt, who was just at Toy Fair this last weekend, where you got to interview, and it's on YouTube, it's on our social media. You got to interview Matt Cardona. So go check that out.
Yeah, Matt Cardona, to be specific, has been very generous with his time whenever we run into him, especially with our Matt Casco. And so Check him out there.
And my chest.
Yeah, that's too. It's in the intro. So as James mentioned, that is not only here on YouTube, that is all over our social media stuff. So if you want to follow us in some other places, you're watching on YouTube, you can check all those links out in the description below for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Blue Sky. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, you want to follow us in other places. Twitter is at @marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod. YouTube.com/@marketdownpod or /marketdownpod3665. Marketdownpod.bsky.social, or just search Marketdown Podcast on any of your sites and you will be able to find us. James, any last things before we go?
I think we nailed it all. See you guys tomorrow. See you guys Friday. According to Maria, stay away, Jericho. He's gonna pop up somewhere. It's like Russian roulette with a gun that just nobody wants to touch.
Well, apparently his contract's frozen, so
yeah, I saw that. We'll see. Makes you wonder who's in that box in WWE that's going to be open on the 28th.
What's in the box?
You missed my Mark Davis joke from the beginning, but love you guys later, fellas. I'm sorry, you know it. That's on. I'm going to blame Rev.
Honestly, I'm back at the beginning and I didn't see it. All right, I will take credit for that. That's my bad, or blame for it, I guess. Anyway, it was fun talking to all you guys. So for James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.